Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Okay. As part of the BIG outreach and the webinar that we've had some curated sessions done as per, in a liaison with our sister incubators. In addition to that, the fact is that we were receiving a lot of comments, suggestions, as well as queries as to how to deal with the BIG proposal, because it is quite extensive when compared to the other entrepreneurial grant schemes that everyone has applied. So we'll be starting in a couple of minutes, just because we foresee a few more attendees joining us. Let's start with a brief purview of Ccamp, after which I will be starting my presentation. Thank you for your patience. Can you see the VLC? Something's gone.
Among those who believe we can change the world with ideas, with purpose, with people, and with science. We enable innovators and researchers to create change through innovation and impact. We are addressing ways to mitigate AMR mortality rates. We are helping protect India's farmers from toxic pesticides. We are designing devices to monitor neonatal sepsis. We are focused on eliminating ICU-acquired infections. And we are working on agri-production by boosting crop health. We are Ccamp, the Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms. A unique hub enabling bioscience research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. At Ccamp, we believe in creating synergistic partnerships and building innovations for people the world over. Ccamp is committed to creating a single platform for researchers, innovators, entrepreneurs, government funding agencies, venture capitalists, institutional investors, and stakeholders across all domains of the biotech industry. We equip our innovators with the tools, technology, and know-how needed to get started. Startups with the Ccamp Edge benefit from state-of-the-art plug-and-play incubation facilities, early-stage grant and seed funding, and entrepreneurship development and mentorship programs. Life science researchers at Ccamp have access to a host of analytical services and training on our technology platforms, thereby ensuring unhindered research.
We see ourselves as enabler of high-end science and deep science innovations, mostly to make sure that science actually comes and delivers to the societal needs. And this can happen with taking science towards the next levels of development and innovations. Ccamp plays a pivotal role in taking science to that level for society as well as economic growth.
Ccamp is significantly leveraged as part of the Sciences Cluster, a triad of scientific excellence in biological research and innovation.
As a part of the cluster, Ccamp is a very important element because it provides access to the enormous resources of the cluster for the benefit of many of the startups that Ccamp incubates, as well as many of the neighboring institutions and institutions across the country and the world that are able to access the resources and technologies that we have developed from the cluster.
Since its inception in 2009, Ccamp has forged connections across India to foster research and innovation. Ccamp has delivered 3,000 plus projects with over 425 plus institutions and has supported over 180 publications. In addition, 200 plus startups have been funded, incubated, and mentored. We have over 2,000 plus connected startups in total, and close to 72 of these have received follow-on funding of 772 crore rupees. We also have over 21 products at market and filed more than 180 patents. Today, Ccamp startups employ more than 650 plus people. Over the past few years, Ccamp has emerged as a thriving bio-innovation hub. We are recognized and awarded for our commitment and excellence, both in India and internationally. Ccamp works towards connecting India with the world's innovators and leveraging global solutions to address India's specific needs. Ccamp played a major role in India's response to COVID-19 through three major programs. 1. Ccamp COVID-19 Innovations Deployment Accelerator, CCIDA, which identified and fast-tracked 30 deployment-ready innovations in diagnostics, preventatives, therapeutics, and vaccines. 2. National Biomedical Resources Indigenization Consortium, NBRIC, Ccamp-led national public-private partnership to fuel indigenous biomedical technologies for COVID-19. 3. Indigenization of Diagnostics or INDX program, a Rockefeller Foundation supported initiative that is ramping up indigenous manufacturing of COVID-19 diagnostic kits. Partners to join us in being change makers for a better tomorrow.
All right. Thank you each and everyone for being patient through that video. We will now start the session which is regarding the BIG grant. So in case you guys have any questions or any suggestions, any queries that you all have, kindly just use the Q&A box at your disposal, or you can, raise your hand and just await your turn so that we will take one question after another. Another thing that I would like the participants to know is that if any one of you have not received the set of documentation, which includes the template of the BIG application form, kindly put forth your email ID in the Q&A box so that we can revert to you as soon as possible with the set of documentation that is required. Primarily, it would be better to have those set of documentation prior to understanding what the entire ask is from the applicant's end when they're applying for the BIG grant. All right. So this is regarding the biotechnology ignition scheme. So basically the thematic areas supported include medtech, diagnostics, sanitation, waste management, veterinary science, clean energy, industrial biotech, etc. So the last date for the application is the August 16th, but because of a heavy load of traffic that the BioRack website actually intakes, we would request you to kindly invest some amount of the Independence Day celebrations in the upload of your BIG grant, right? So coming to the focus of the life sciences in India, as you all know, the video aptly pointed out that we facilitate research, we develop technologies, and we nurture innovations. So any of the technology resources that you need at hand with respect to the academia or the startups, you can utilize that. Why I'm telling about the technology resources is because you might need some amount of high-end equipment, probably through the BIG grant, in order to validate the proof of concept that is required. So if that is the case, you can just go through the Ccamp website and you can see what technology resources we have at our disposal. And while drafting the application form, you can say that some of the experimentations will be conducted at Ccamp. Probably formalize on that on a later date. But then if you want to put up an application, a strong applications, liaisons with partnering with institutions to actually carry out your BIG grant is actually looked at positively. So kindly utilize any technology resources that are not at your disposal at the moment. And if they are at Ccamp, kindly utilize that. Kindly tell us that, in the BIG grant, you can utilize these technologies, that you will be undertaking the experiments at a Ccamp. So as a part of nurturing innovations, etc., we provide funding opportunities that, scale up from, say, 25 lakhs to about 3.3 CR. This is all through the stages of commercialization. We also provide technical assistance, mentoring, handholding, etc., in order to just look at, where you stand with respect to your idea. This is basically trying to understand whether your technical edge that you think is provided in your proposed solution can actually cater to the societal need and the societal impact that is actually looked at positively as part of the BIG grant or otherwise. And then we also see that there is a curated need that is requested from the applicants to actually understand the business aspects better. Things not on, very detailed clarity are required in the business front, although we would like you to have a clarity and as to who will buy your proposed technology, what will be the access point of market entry, etc. I will dwell on this a little bit more on the upcoming slides. And in order to facilitate some sort of novelty, establishment of novelty in your idea, you would have to point out what would be the patent aspects of your BIG application. And therefore, we do have a patent cell here at Ccamp, OTT Office of Technology Transfer here at Ccamp, that will help you understand what it is all about. So probably now, because you have less than 20 days left for applying, you can just point out certain areas that you think are actually patentable in the future, bankable in the future, and then you can revert back to us. Right? And then after the BIG grant, you would be requiring some sort of assistance and guidance on the regulatory aspects as well. And that comes with an equal amount of networking and connect that is actually required through this. So basically, as part of nurturing innovations, this is what we do. What is expected out of the BIG grant is the first step to actually understand all of these formalities that are required with respect to your proposed solution. So the various funding programs that we have here at Ccamp, inclusive of the BIG scheme, which is a biotechnology ignition grant, we do have the Startup India Seed Fund as well as a Mighty Seed Fund. All of the other seed funds, come from about 20 lakhs to about 50 lakhs. And we also have a social immersion program that actually targets graduates alone. They will be given a fellowship, to understand what the scenario is in the field. So basically, we had a call on geriatrics as well. And that has panned out 2 BIG awardees from there. And then we also have different seed funding schemes like the BIRAC seed and the Nidhi seed, and also scale up and acceleration support in the form of LEAP funding scheme, which is from 1 CR to CBIH, which is in in conjunction with a Japanese venture fund, and that comes up to 3.3 CR. So we also have a remotely access to all the incubation for platforms here at part of the Bio Innovation Hub. So we have the CNRI program here at Ccamp. So basically, if you are, associated with any incubator which is not around Karnataka, you can actually utilize this remote access, and you can actually avail all the opportunities that we have here at Ccamp. So by means of having an extended arm of CNRI, as part of physically, hand-holding, mentoring, funding about 300 plus startups, we are also associated with about 1,000 plus startups. So you can avail the CNRI program and look at it positively in order to have a connect with the ecosystem of Ccamp, in addition to the already established connects that you have at your end right now. So in a way to actually establish a wonderful opportunity here at Ccamp, where we actually work with customized programs, etc., to secure funding, investment, and offering assistance, enabling connects. We also work very closely with our sister incubators. So we remotely connect with incubators. We show them an outline as to how people who are associated with them can actually be sharing an ecosystem with Ccamp as well. So we have had MOUs with about 20 plus incubators already, and we are presently in talks with many more. So if anybody of you feel that your incubator can actually avail a lot of benefits with Ccamp, which is a decade old in this ecosystem, we can actually have an MOU signed with your incubator, and you can actually access the customized programs here. So these are the numbers that we have. We are quite proud of at Ccamp. So the fact that we have 40 plus life science products already in the market, we have about 200 plus new patents that have been filed by Ccamp startups, and we have about 670 plus employees that are associated with the startups associated with Ccamp. Right. Just a little query, I mean, a deviation from the talk here. In the Q&A box, I see a lot of people asking for the documents, etc. You can just write us an email. Probably I'll just put it up in the chat box. If in case you need something to be catered to immediately, you can just write an email to ccamp_big@ccamp.res.in, and we will revert back to you with the documentations that is required. Okay, so this is some of the numbers. Like I said, we are very proud of at Ccamp. So the total cumulative valuation of a Ccamp startups all put together with the 300 plus portfolio that we have, excluding of the 700 plus that is an extended arm of Ccamp, we have a valuation about 3,000 plus crores happening at the moment. So as a means of delivering to the societal need that we have, we equally foster ideas from healthcare, agriculture, and environment. So basically, primary and secondary agriculture, antimicrobial resistance, oncology, bioplastics, or even maternal and child health. These are most of the domains in which you can apply for the BIG grant as well. So if you have any, ideas that are coming in from associated or allied areas, like for example, you have a lot of influx of mechanical engineering coming into agriculture as a means of development of automation, etc. And you also have a lot of robotics coming into, say, diagnostics in order to cater to a huge number of samples of urine or blood for that matter. So even if such ideas are coming in from allied areas that are non-biology or non-life sciences to begin with, we also cater to those ideas as well. So as a part of catering to maternal and child health, we have had startups that work on neonatal jaundice, neonatal hypoxic conditions, platform for preeclampsia as well as sepsis. So we have Empathy, Sportsens, NASA as well as Sensivision actually going in for at least Series C of seed funding right now. Sportsens has already delivered its product into the market, and they are going to the rural parts of India to actually get to understand, and validate their technology in the maternal and child health domain. As far as agriculture is concerned, we have over 10 plus startups that are working on agriculture and allied areas. So basically, we have Ccamp Labs that is providing end-to-end solutions in fresh produces. We have, Phonatech, etc., who are working on precisely maintaining, mimicking drought conditions, etc. We have Sysgen, we have Gestron, who are targeting diseases in cattle, diagnostics diseases in cattle. We have, say, Sepio Health, etc., who are working on micropropagation and pesticide exposure to plants, etc. And then we have Wide Mobility that is using X-rays to actually cater to pathogens that are actually present inside the fruit. So we have had ideas from agriculture, and as I mentioned, like innovations coming up from Dasdan, Wide Mobility, even Giga have actually come from people who have no bio or life science based educational qualifications. So all it takes for us to support you is the fact that we go with the Government of India regulations, where you will have to be a graduate at the time of application. And if you have a startup, then that does not cater to that criteria as well, right? So as part of supporting innovations in the life science segment, in the AMR segment, we have one of the BIG awardees, which is Bugworks, that are working on infectious diseases, and they have discovered a novel effective antibiotic molecule, basically, that has remained as a grave discovery void for at least 30 years last. So basically, they are into phase 1 clinical trials, and they are going in for combating multiple drug-resistant bacteria. And, when they applied for the BIG, why it is important to highlight Bugworks is the fact that when they applied for BIG, they were looking at a couple of molecules that may be of interest in the AMR domain. After which they, at the end of BIG, they came across just one molecule that they felt can be a molecule of interest. Once they garnered a lot of traction on their scientific R&D, they are now stumbling upon, filling up a void for the last 30 years. So probably with respect to BIG, whatever your idea is, be it big or be it small, you can actually have the first step forward, and then you can actually pan out your possibilities during the BIG or post the BIG grant. So this is the entire ambit that we have here at Ccamp. These people have been associated with us for about 5+ years now. So we have Luxmatra, Log9, which are primarily into clean energy and stuff. We have Immunito AI, which is inclusivity of drug discovery platforms, the AI ML modules into drug discovery. Then we have Sysgen, which is completely into the cattle livestock kind of a domain. We have Zoomator Biologics that are working on drug discovery again. We have Drumlins that is actually working on sanitation and water treatment and water. So we have people in all domains basically that have been going ahead. We have Shanmukha who are into RT-PCR techniques and stuff like that. So coming to the BIG grant, this is a scheme that is open twice a year. So repeat applications are definitely invited. We also cater to repeat applications as well. So if you are going ahead with the 1st of January or the 1st of July call, you can apply every call of the BIG. We have had awardees in the BIG domain who have applied with us for 5+ times and then gotten selected as well. So do not get disheartened in case you are not getting selected when you're getting applied for the first time. Kindly revise your proposals in such a way that the impact is being sought. So coming to the BIG grant, it is a module where you can request up to 18 months of time and up to 50 lakhs INR. So whatever you request for is what you get, right? Basically. So if you ask for 50 lakhs, we are going to give you 50 lakhs. BIRAC would be approving 50 lakhs. If you think that 45 or 48 lakhs or 30 lakhs itself is enough, kindly request the said amount that you feel is feasible to undertake the R&D component of your proposed solution. That being said, it does not mean that people who are asking for a lower amount get selected. The entire module of the BIG grant at Ccamp runs on a merit-based approach. So there's a lot of competition that actually looks at exciting funding opportunities and, ideas in the same domain and everything. So, the competition is high in this grant. So we would request you to kindly, look at it in that positive light. So why is it important for the BIG grant? Basically, BIG scheme is one thing that looks at innovation as well as the innovator in the right merit. And we also constitute the entire ambit of innovation. So if you look at the stages of an innovator, an individual innovator with or without the startup, he or she comes up with an idea, and then, they garner some scientific merit, etc., scientific representations of that particular idea, and then go up to the POC stage. Now, once you are in the proof of concept stage, what usually happens is that you scale up and then you get into delivering a prototype and the innovation. What usually happens is that the idea to POC stage is the most critical phase in the development of the startup or for an idea. Basically, you don't know if it works. You don't know even if it works, what would be the output of it working. But what happens is people look at you positively only after you have garnered the POC. BIG is one scheme that looks between idea to the POC stage. That being said, we have a lot of queries that have come up saying that, look, I have an idea. Can I apply directly to the BIG? Because of the presently the BIG scheme has become very competitive, we request you to apply with an idea that has some sort of a preliminary data, even something that supports the idea in the right merit with some scientific representations, right? Now, as far as the innovator is concerned, we are open to individuals, a group of individuals with one nominated project coordinator or a startup which is less than 5 years old to actually apply. You can either come from the academia or from the industry. If you are from the academia, please make sure that you are a graduate at the time of application. By that, we mean you should be a senior student. You can be a postdoc, you can be a doctorate or even a faculty member. And if you are from the industry, you can apply in the right merit by being an employee, founder, or a veteran. So the scope and the support of the BIG grant is not for basic research. That, like I said, I can't tell you that, look, I have an idea, give me 50 lakhs. I can't do that. But then how are you going to cater to that particular idea? How are you going to cater to that particular idea reaching the societal impact? Should have some level of innovation with a commercial prospect. You should identify how are you going to enter into the market, etc. Again, it is not for the other extreme metric where it is not for systemic clinical trials or late stage validation or certification of the technology. Yeah, like I said, you can request for up to 50 lakhs for not more than 18 months of time. You can use that said amount, like for example, if you're requesting for 50 lakhs, you can use that said amount for limited market research. You can cover patenting, you can purchase equipment, you can pay salary for anybody you are recruiting. You can use it for consumables, you can use it for travel, and also you can keep some amount aside as part of the contingency, basically catering to any unforeseen expenses that may or may not arise during the 18 months of grant. So the thematic areas supported under the BIG, actually under the healthcare domain, we have drugs, devices, and diagnostics, which are the major thematic area, followed by agriculture and industrial biotechnology. So when you are applying for the BIG grant, there will be a choice where you have to highlight which is the thematic area that you will be applying for. So you will have to choose wisely, which is whether it's drugs, devices, diagnostic, agriculture, or industrial biotechnology. Under drugs, you have different other thematic areas like vaccines, drug formulations, delivery systems. Under devices, you will have to mark it out like whether it is human oriented, whether it's animal oriented, etc. The same applies to diagnostics as well. Now, as part of industrial biotech, there is a slight confusion that happens when you are applying. So people who choose secondary agriculture actually go in with the thematic area of agriculture. But other than that, waste management, sanitation, clean energy, etc., always comes under industrial biotech panel. Now, do not confuse yourself if you feel that you have an idea that fits best into agriculture or even secondary agriculture. You can choose either agriculture or industrial biotechnology. At the time of checking eligibility and all of that, we at Ccamp will make sure that you get the right panel to actually validate your proposal. So we will request you, I mean, again, the decision is taken by the applicant, but then we will request you whether you feel that what do you feel, whether it looks if we feel that it fits better into secondary agriculture, we will request you if you would like to change it, and we go by the decision of the applicant. Nothing is forced from Ccamp from our end to you. It is not like Ccamp tells you and you do it without even thinking, right? So we leave it to the best decision of you. So that is the part of the thematic area that is being supported. Now, to all of these thematic areas, we have had integration approaches that happen, like, for example, big data, AI, ML, robotics, automation, etc. So all of these comes under another sub-thematic area under each of these themes. So kindly adjudge which thematic area you are applying for. Under that, what would be the sub-thematic area, either human, animal, secondary agriculture, waste management, sanitation, drug formulation, vaccines, biosimilars, etc. Under that, again, you have an inclusion that you will have to mention whether it has some amount of AI/ML involved, any amount of sensors involved, whether it is IoT based, whether it's engineering based, right? So this would be the themes that you will have to identify when you are applying for the BIG grant. Now, coming to the eligibility, if you are applying as an individual, you will be considered as the person who will be the project coordinator should be an Indian citizen. And that means that you should have a valid passport. There is a choice where you will have to upload the passport at the time of application, right? And then you should be incubated in a recognized TBI. So whichever is the TBI nearest to you, you can, you can indicate that it should be a TBI. And if you have an NOC, if you have from the academia or a faculty member, say a postdoc or a PhD or a faculty member for that matter, an NOC from the institute would be required. The format of the NOC can be emailed to you from our end. And if you are presently employed in a company, you will have to submit a self-declaration, basically stating that you will step down from the current position if and when you are selected. So it is something for the future. If in case you get some critical comment, etc., during the BIG at the time of application, you need not step down. You will have to step down only when you are awarded. That is on a later date, right? Now, if you are a company that is applying, then you should not be more than 5 years old. 51% of the ownership is to be held by resident Indian citizens, and the project leader or the project coordinator whom you nominate as part of the focal point of contact in your company should be holding shares in your company, even if it is ESOPs or even if it is in the means of saying 0.1% shares are being held, then it can be made eligible. Right? So individual applicant must not hold any shares in any biotech company, and no promoter of the company should be the co-promoter of another biotech company. So just make sure that you upload the right documentation when you are applying. In case you do not have the documentation at hand at the time of application, there is a separate, a 2-week window after the application is sent or uploaded onto the BIRAC portal, where Ccamp will be requesting you for that said documentation. And depending on the documentation sent, we will classify you as being either eligible or not eligible. Okay. So as part of the proposal, basically, you will be drafting the grant proposal in a way where you are presenting the idea for the innovation. So this kind of clarity actually should be mentioned in the BIRAC grant, and this is the clarity that usually seems missing at the time of application. So before you upload onto the BIRAC portal, we actually request you to kindly send a draft of your proposal to Ccamp at ccamp_big, the same email ID that I have communicated in the chat box. You can just send us that proposal and we will look at it intently. It is not to actually, criticize the entire proposal or anything like that. Probably clarity has been sought from your end at the time of application, but then there are certain things that the reviewers from the BIG grant actually look at. And those are the things that we will actually be navigating you through with our comments. So you can send us a draft of the application by 14th August, because see, 16th is the last date, 15th is the preferred date from Ccamp where you upload all of your comments, etc. I mean, the entire proposal, etc. August 14th would be the last date for us to actually help you in drafting the proposal, getting back with you with curated comments. So as part of nurturing innovations, as part of the BIG grant, let me just tell you what a basic proposal does. So it'll have a scientific idea. It needs to have a business plan and a team that is actually catering to the entire R&D component, at least, of the BIG grant. So if it is a basic proposal, it will have basically stating what, why, and how do you intend to create the innovation? What is it that you are looking at? Why is it that you are catering to this particular innovation? And how meaning the scientific feasibility of the entire thing? How do you propose to create the innovation, at least in a smaller scale, in the 18-month duration that you are having? As part of the business plan, you will just know how, when, and where the product will be commercialized. So basically, you will say that because for example, if your proposed solution is into, gynecology segment, you would just say that it's a female population that I am targeting, right? And if it is a team, you will just try to reflect whether, look, I can deliver this and I can develop it. But what happens, the change that happens when it comes to a good proposal? As part of the scientific idea, you will have to detail what is a need, what is a problem, and what is a solution. How is it novel? By novelty, I mean, how is your proposed solution to that particular problem having an edge over whatever is presently available in the market? Say whatever is presently available in the market does not cater to a particular age of the population, or for example, it does not cater to the time sensitivity that is required in translating or detecting a pathogen that is actually required real time, right? That would be part of the novelty. How are you societally impacting on the entire dogma of your, because you are providing this solution to this particular problem, which part or ambit of the society is being impacted? Is it scientifically feasible to actually undertake the experimentation and tell us that you have achieved a POC in 18 months time? And what is the presently competition in the market, right? Now, when it comes to the business plan, you will have to have a clear-cut idea as to who your users will be, who your buyers will be, what is the market you're trying to target, who are your competition. So basically, when you're starting out with the BIG grant, probably you will have different mega players already present in the market. There might be the competition in when you're starting out, but probably when you are coming to POC or post POC stage, when you finish validation, etc., you may actually collaborate with these people. Like, for example, one of the BIG awardees who had come from the geriatrics calls of the SIIP, his major competitor was Philips at the time of BIG grant application. Today, he is collaborating with them so that he can deliver the proposed solution and they will do the marketing for it. Right? So it transcends, it actually transcends, but then the clarity as to who the people are already in the market is to be clarified. And then the timeline. So basically, when I mention the detail of the business plan, let me just give you an example. For example, if you're looking at female incontinence, it goes without a say, as means of basic proposal, you are targeting the female population, right? But when you come to a good proposal, you know that female incontinence will kick in at the age of 35. If you are targeting the female population above 35, is that it? No. Because again, when you are trying to deliver this into the market, female incontinence is not very highly or very societally accepted and talked about in the rural segments of India. So your business plan would be the first priority of target would actually be, for example, women who are above the age of 35, especially in the urban population. And timeline for the business plan again is very crucial. Like, for example, if you are having a device-based solution, you will have to go through several CDSCO-based regulations and all of that. So basically, timeline to hit the market at the time of commercialization would be about 5 years, right? Post the BIG grant. Now, if you are having a drug-based or a molecule-based intervention, then your timeline might be 8 years or 10 years down the line, because you will have to go through 4 phases of clinical trials. If it is an agri domain, then you will have to get a clearance from the panchayats or from the rural community. So that takes very lesser time. So the translation in the agricultural domain, if the idea fits into the farmer's perspective very directly, then it might translate in about 2 to 3 years, right? And if it is something like waste treatment or effluent treatment, it depends where you're getting it from. Is it from the industry? Is it from the hospitals? And therefore, you will have to navigate it. So the timeline that is required for the business plan is also important. You will have to critically analyze how much time will you be going in for commercialization. And the team members, you will have to clarify who the members would be, who your team members would be, who would be your scientific advisors as well as business advisors. Now, I do understand that having a clarity on who the name of the business advisors is a little difficult at the time of application. So you can say that you're in talks with someone, with some person who might be onboarded as part of the business advisor. But having a scientific advisor would add merit to the proposal. So basically, if you are extending your PhD project as part of the BIG, where you feel that it can have a commercialization potential, your scientific advisor can be your PhD mentor as well. Okay. Now, these are the components of the BIG scheme. Just a minute. Two people have actually raised your hands. Before I go ahead, I request Dr. Shivanna to kindly unmute yourself and ask the question.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Nice for your wonderful presentation, madam. Thank you very much. And this one, no, okay, definitely you have an innovative idea, but you are lagging in how to this one, no, challenges, opportunity, and writing the proposal. You have mentioned a few points like proposal summary, objectives, these things. Here, can we get the support from your innovation, incubation, your Ccamp incubation for writing this commercial plan, business model and all?
Right. So, that is the main reason why we actually have this webinar, Dr. Shivanna. The next slides, I will be going through each component in detail. With respect to your proposed solution, you can actually write or draft the proposal and send us the draft so that we look at it and we'll get back to you with curated comments. You can include that and then you can upload it onto the BIRAC portal.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. There is a hand from Anban Sadguru. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
I just want to know, we are sending the proposals and you said it will be drafted according to the needs of the panel, right, ma'am? So I just want to know how protective is your idea is. We are suggesting some novel ideas. What if someone is going to use it up and if at all we are not going to get through the grant at the first call, as you said, it takes nearly 4 or 5 calls for a person to get a grant to be selected, right, ma'am?
No.
I understand.
Yeah,
You are
so
saying,
basically what I'm telling you is that, I mean, I'll come to your question for a little later. So the thing is, what I'm telling you is, do not be disheartened in case it is not selected. That's what I mean. We have had people, we have about 161 plus awardees of BIG in the 10 years that BIRAC has taken up calls, right? And we were not part of one of the calls that I remember of. The entire thing is that over the course, we have had people who have had gotten selected in the first, first application itself. Sometimes what happens is there are some integrities that, get missed out, or sometimes it is just a matter of competition where, you do not get through that next step of getting awarded. So reapplications are to be taken up in this right light. They are not something that you are disheartened about. If you are coming from an academic area, I do understand that, you will fill out DBT, DST projects, and there are some of these applications where you can apply only for once and then not apply after that. So BIG is not such a domain. You can actually apply as long as you meet the eligibility criteria of the BIG grant. Okay, that is number one. Second thing is, all the employees of Ccamp have an NDA that is signed with BIRAC as well as with Ccamp as part of your employee, our employee contract letters, basically. The second thing is, all the reviewers who are coming in for the online review as well as for the TEP, that is the pitching deck where you pitch in front of the panelists, they all have signed NDAs. And in my brief intervention that I know of, I have not seen any ideas being taken up without the, without the intimation to the applicants at that end. There have already also been some circumstances in Ccamp here where some of the people who are not awarded under BIG have also been, asked by, say, the VCs or any investors who come as part of the panel members to actually handhold them without the BIG grant itself. So many things actually pan out when you are applying for the BIG grant. As far as the patentability or, the disclosure of your idea is concerned, what I would like you to do is do not disclose anything that is proprietary in nature, that you feel may be patented in the future. But then help us understand your entire solution better. Like, for example, let me give you an example. If you are having a drug-based intervention for some health condition, right, you need not give us a molecule name, right? But at least tell us what is the nature of the molecule. Like, for example, if it is a phosphorylase, or if it is a LPS or something like that, right? So at least we know that the nature of that particular family of molecules can actually be leveraged for this health condition, right? So do not discuss anything that is proprietary in nature, but then give us enough on the components and in the summary and through your proposal, where we can actually say that, look, I completely understand and this can be leveraged as to achieve the POs.
okay, got the point.
All right. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Dr. Chandrabhan Rao, kindly unmute yourself.
Yes, madam. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Madam, previously in 2020, I submitted my grant, my proposal with KIT TVI, Bhubaneswar. I went. My initial screening was done, and my proposal. I got some comments, and after in secondly when I applied, then again comment generated, ma'am. So they want comment that what is the process and what are you exactly doing, like that is, I think that was my means my project internal parts.
Okay.
And again they want comment. So that's why I not applied from there. Now
Okay.
I want to apply. So
okay. So you can do one thing, Dr. Chandraman Rao, because you have already applied earlier. Probably if there is something, how you have enhanced, the efficiency of your proposed solution or something like that. If you have done some extra experiments on that end, you can actually integrate that into the draft of the proposal and send us the draft along with the previous comments. Okay, so we will help you navigate through how you can balance out the response to the comments as well as make your draft even more stronger when you are applying with Ccamp.
Okay, madam.
Again, that being said, if there is something proprietary in nature that you are not comfortable with telling us out, at least give us an overview of what it is all about so that we understand it.
That is already.
So if you can give us a draft of the proposal that you have drafted for the 21st call along with the previous comments, we will look at it and we will get back to you with some curated comments so that we will help you navigate through the whole situation. That we can do from our end.
Okay, madam. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shrikanta Murthy.
Okay, good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, then.
First of all, I would like to thank you for a wonderful speech and very good insight regarding the big scheme. And my query is, what actually we need to in Ccamp, like any commercials is involved in that or not?
Commercials, as in what do you mean by that?
So I mean to say we need to share funding or intellectual property.
Ccamp doesn't take any right, any part of the grant for ourselves, and neither do we impinge on any of the IPs. As far as BIRAC is concerned, BIG grant, whatever IP is actually generated, it sticks with the team or the principal coordinator, the project coordinator. And whoever the project coordinator sees fit, that is where they will come in. So we do not take any stake in your company. We do not make it mandatory for you to incubate with us. We do not make it mandatory for you to register a company at the time of application in case you are applying as an individual. So all of those decisions, we are very flexible here at Ccamp. Nothing is mandatory from our end. But what we do stick to is whatever is the key requirements of the BIG scheme. So we will not be able to navigate other than navigate through anything else in concrete until unless it is something that is non-negotiable from BIRAC, right? So we at Ccamp, we don't make anything mandatory from our end until unless it is mandatory from BIRAC.
Thank you, ma'am. And one more thing is for this call, August 14th is the last date for the present call, right?
No. The last date, according to BIRAC, is August 16th, right? But we see a lot of traffic that actually comes into the BIRAC portal on the 16th. So we request you to upload everything by August 15th, right? That being said, the draft of the proposal, the comments for the said proposals as well as the LOI and all of that, if you want it from us, we will give it to you by August 14th. So that it is comfortable on your end to apply by the August 15th.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing is, ma'am, basically I'm an academician and working in an engineering institution.
Okay.
So I need to tie up with the incubator or what?
Yeah, you will have to tie up with a technology business incubator. In the following slides, I will tell you how you can do it.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I will take the next questions after the narrative is done. I think some of the questions can be, catered to with the follow-up slides. So just give me some time and then I'll get back to you with all the questions. Even in the chat box and the Q&A box, I have indicated that some of them will be answered live. So I'll be getting back to them as well. Right. So these are the components of the proposal as such. So you have the proposal summary, you have the objectives. So basically detailing what is the research methodology that will go into the objectives. You will have to highlight the novelty as to basically telling us either technically or non-technically how your entire proposed solution is actually better than the present solutions already in the market. The opportunity segment is actually business oriented. So you will have to give us some rough estimates as to how you're going ahead. You will have to identify some challenges that you may foresee in catering to the BIG grant. So basically, while identifying challenges, you can also say how you are going to overcome the challenges as well. Okay. Now, preliminary work is something that is not mandated as part of the BIG scheme, but because of the challenging and the competitive nature, we request you to put some amount of preliminary work into your BIG scheme. Basically, some sort of graphical representations or some illustrations or something like that. So basically, if you're looking at, say, device, you may not have any preliminary work as such, but if you have some sort of iterations of illustrations that you have worked as to how the final device will look at the time of commercialization, you can actually put that as part of your preliminary work. What will be your end outcomes? What will be a commercial plan? If any IP infringement is there, do you have an FTO to operate? As well as critical references has to be included as part of the schema, right? So coming to the proposal summary, kindly detail what is the problem that you are solving. Like I said, it is very important to tell us whether you are looking at, even if you say that, you are catering to a female population, then tell us what part of that particular ambit are you trying to solve. What is your proposed solution, and how is it, going to solve the problem that is mentioned? Okay, sorry. And then what are the currently available solutions in the market, and how your solution is slightly better? So basically, if you are looking at, say, an eco-friendly route to target dental caries or something like that, you can actually say, why is your solution better? What is the present available solutions in the market? What are the key features that you feel that your particular proposed solution can actually override with the negativity or the cons of the present solutions in the market. Now, in addition to this, we also would like you to tell us what your POC will be. So basically, for example, in the drug domain, like I said, you cannot say that you're going to, at the end of the BIG grant, you cannot say that your drug or the molecule will be the novel molecule, right? You cannot claim that, because to claim that, you actually need at least 2 of the 4 phases of clinical trials involved. So you will have to tell us that, although, we are looking at the novelty aspect of the molecule, we can actually adjudge whether the said molecule will be a molecule of interest against what health condition or what disease condition. And then in addition to this, you will also have to upload a concept note. So basically, it will be an illustration of what it is. So basically, if it is an illustration, for example, if it is a graphical representation, if it is a device, you can just tell us an illustration of the device. It can be an overview of the proposed summary in an easy to read manner. It can be a workflow of your AI/ML strategy or something like that, which is non-proprietary in nature. Right now, then coming next to the objectives and the proposed approach. So you have the strategy or the methodology that you will be working under BIG. So basically describe what sort of experiments you have planned, what do you achieve under each of these objectives. Now, for example, if you are applying for the BIG grant and have applied for any other grant, please make sure that if you have already been awarded a said grant, right, do not overlap the same objectives of that grant into BIG. Now, at the time of application of the BIG, if you are applying to 2 or 3 parallel grant schemes, if you have not received funding support, you can have parallel objectives. That being said, if the objectives and deliverables get funded by any other constituent, you can't have parallel objectives running in the BIG, right? Then as part of the novelty, this is very important. So basically, you'll have to list out your competitors, basically tell us in a differentiation or something like that. So this is some of the documentation that can be uploaded, as a separate document onto your onto the BIRAC portal. So you have additional documentation that can be uploaded, and this can be one of the documents in that. So basically, you can upload how your technology is, key features basically. Like, for example, whether it will be cost effective. If it is cost effective, to what percentage can the cost be reduced with your proposed solution? If it is making things time sensitive, then how fast can be the readout of your proposed technology when compared to the others? Then coming to the opportunity, this is completely, like I said, the business aspect. So basically, how much of the market do you intend to capture? So basically, if you are intending to capture a market of the male population, or for example, the veterinary population, then which part of the veterinary sector are you targeting? Is it poultry? Is it dogs? Is it cats? Whatever it is, and how much of an impact will that market have? So basically, probably the impact of the market might be slightly lower in India when compared to global. Even that you can actually put into the opportunity segment. Make sure you have a very clear-cut idea as to what your ethical clearances and the regulatory aspects are. So basically, if you are going to do some experimentation with blood samples or urine samples, probably you need ethical clearances from the hospital. You may need consent forms signed by the patients. You might need some human ethical clearances that have to be done. And after the POC, that is after the BIG grant, please make sure what regulatory aspects you will be undertaking. For example, if it is a food-based intervention, you might need some FSSAI-based regulations. If it is a device, then it will be CDSCO-based, depending on the grade of the CDSCO that you have. So you have grade A to grade D or E that I know of. If it is a chemical drug-based intervention, you will go through DGCI. And if it is a herbal drug-based intervention, you will go through Ayush. So that kind of a clarity has to be met when you are writing the proposal. As part of the preliminary work, as I said, it is not mandatory, but then because of the competitive nature, it is something that you can include. So basically, make sure that your data, your graphs, and your images are scientifically presented. So if you are uploading graphs, in addition to the X and the Y axis, please make sure that you have error bars and everything involved. And if you have magnification images or something, please make sure that the grade of magnification like 100x, 5x, 10x, etc. is actually mentioned as part of the image. Have a clear understanding as to what your end outcome is, whether it's a product, whether it's a service that you will be licensing out, whether it is a technology that can actually be used as a service-based module, and then what your commercialization plan is. Like, for example, who your customers would be, whether it would be a B2B, which is business to business, whether it will be B2C, which is business to customer, whether it will be B2G, with this business to government, or whether it's D2C, which is the direct to customer, right? So, and where you will sell it, like, for example, your first point of sales would be, say, physiotherapists or doctors or geriatrics or whatever it is. You can actually mention that in detail. Now, coming to the intellectual property, this is one domain that people actually have a lot of issues with. So basically, kindly just do a Google, just do a web engine search of what the patent is all about. Like, for example, let me tell you, if you have it, if you're working on, say, selenium nanoparticles, right? Having a target would be the health condition, say XYZ health condition. You can do a web engine search. You need not do a WIPO-based search or go to a patent analyst or a strategist for that matter. So you can just do a simple web engine search. For example, if you're able to look at, say, selenium nanoparticles, you may have two types of results that are coming onto you. So you will have selenium nanoparticles that are patented in, say, ABC health conditions and not the XYZ health condition that you are targeting. So you can say that, look, this patent exists for selenium nanoparticles, but it is not for the health condition that I am or you are targeting. That is number one. Second thing is, if you already have selenium nanoparticles targeting XYZ health condition, there can be a navigation through it. Like, for example, you can actually look at, say, where the patent is. Like, for example, if the patent has been registered in Singapore or in Australia, you can just make sure to mention that, I will not have a freedom to operate or an FTO in Singaporean or Australian markets, but I can operate it in India, America, South America, UK, or for that matter, Europe, for that, right? In addition to that, in case you are going in for an extended study of your PhD or your postdoc, you may have some patent or something that is filed by your institute in the name of your PhD guide and yourself. So you might be the inventors of the patent, but the patent might be, owned by, say, the institute, right? At that time, you will have to mention that you will undertake out-licensing of the patent from the institute to the name of yourself or in the name of the company, which is easily done nowadays as part of the academic cohorts are concerned. Now, as far as the references are concerned, please cite important papers. You and I both come from an academic background, if not anything else. We have both probably submitted MSc as well as PhD thesis. Now, when we were writing our thesis, I critically remember like every line of your thesis had to be bracketed for that particular back reference. That is not required under BIG. Please, like for example, if you are taking a reference paper of some particular John et al. Or whatever, and you are involving your innovation in it, please cite only that paper that can add credibility or some sort of visibility to your particular proposed solution. That being said, if you are already having a publication for the proposed technology that you are applying under the BIG, please make sure that the content of that reference paper becomes your preliminary data and not the reference material. So the references has to be from the third party and not your own references. So publications that have been meted out in the BIG against, if it is your own paper, please shift it to your preliminary data and not cite it as an important paper. If you cite it, that means that you're doing something that some XYZ person already did, right? Now, when it comes to the team, like I said, kindly cover and judge who your project coordinator will be, who your team members will be. If you do not have the team members already established for executing the project, at least at technical R&D, please mention that you will be recruiting some people in the future. And if you are, then please mention what their basic qualifications would be. Like, for example, if you are pitching in the BIG for an agri-based intervention, please don't have somebody on your team who has a credibility for cell biology. Right? It does not add any merit to the situation. And then please identify key scientific advisors as part of the team. So this will be the structure of the team. So basically, business advisor at the time of application is not mandatory, but then please mention in your proposal that, a business advisor can be, you will be onboarding a business advisor at a later date. Now, coming to the crucial element, in case you are applying for the BIG for the next time, when you are sending the draft of your application, please make sure that you send the draft for the 21st call along with the comments that you have received previously. And at the time of upload, please be polite and respectful with your responses. Highlight how you have modified your proposal and what progress you have made since the last review. Number one. Second thing is, another response to the repeat applicants can be like, if you are completely coming up with a different idea, but you have applied for the BIG scheme for another idea altogether, please make sure to mention what is the proposal and what are the comments received. And in the response, you can say that these comments do not apply for the present proposal because I am uploading a completely different idea. Okay, so this would be the grading of the proposal. To majority of the points go in for the idea, how you are differentiating your idea, or how are you going to technically validate your idea during the BIG grant, etc., with the critical qualifier of being the commercialization potential. So this would be the budget head. So please make sure that you have a budget that is oriented for equipment, manpower, and consumables. So at the time of application, it is a different structure that you have. So at the time of application, you will have to highlight the equipment, manpower, and consumables in separate segments. Okay. And then you have something called other recurring heads that comes up. And in that, you can mention whatever amount you want to put in for outsourcing, IP, contingency, and rentals. Okay. So whatever the entire output is at the time of application, just make sure that the total of your budget stands right. So if you are requesting for 48 lakhs, please make sure it is 48 lakhs. At the time of the pitch deck, when you are pitching in front of the panelists, at that time we can make modifications to this, but please make sure that the total amount is actually almost similar to at least what the online proposal catered to. Now, when you are describing the timeline, so this is something that we have done if you are requesting for 18 months. So at Ccamp, we usually tell people to have a milestone set from 14 to 18 months and not less than 12 months, because we understand a lot of iterations are required as part of the R&D that is required. So milestone one, mention what the milestone one is, what are the activities you will be undertaking under milestone one, and what will be the deliverables and the outcomes. Now, coming to the grant royalty, this is something that has kicked in from the 16th call. So basically, only at the time of commercialization. So basically, the 4 stages that I had mentioned, if you remember, idea, POC, product, and innovation. After that comes commercialization. So depending upon whatever the scheme is, like for example, if you are drug-based, then the royalty will kick in after 10 years. If you are agri-based, then the royalty will kick in after 4 or 5 years. So depending on when you are starting the sales of the product, at that time, the 5% of the royalty kicks in till the payment becomes equivalent to the requested funds of your merit. So this is the entire schema of the grant process. Please understand that from the close of the call, that is the August 16th for the present call, it will take about 6 months time for BIRAC to actually adjudge whether you are awarded or not. So it's a very long haul that you are in for. So basically, you will be submitting your online applications until the August 16th or the August 15th from my end, after which there will be a very detailed eligibility screening and preliminary screening that is undertaken by Ccamp. This is something that runs for about a month and a half, if not earlier. And then your proposal, which will be blinded, which actually will be sent to 5 technical online experts. This is a completely online review. The merit or the recommended proposals from the online review will be featured or requested to be present for a in-person session. So the online application that you are submitting will actually guide you through 4 critical steps of the BIG review. And then after the technical evaluation panel, we have an expert selection committee meeting that happens between BIRAC, implementing partners, and the reviewers or the panelists for that matter. After that, you will get to know if you are awarded or not. Followed by that will be the financial and the technical due diligence undertaken by Ccamp, followed by mentoring and funding. So basically, if you are thinking that, the online proposal, I'll write the minimum possible and then I will go ahead and, pitch my best, it doesn't happen. So kindly, whatever you want to make us understand as part of the online review or the online application, please make sure to input everything from your end that is not proprietary in nature as part of your online application. There'll be only one session for you to present in front of the TEP or the technical evaluation panel. So now I'm open to questions. I'll go to the Q&A box first because they had come up with this. So I have a question from Rajesh Gokhale. After investing about 772 crores, you have put in only 71 products in the market. There is no key obstacle here, Dr. Gokhale. I understand that you are coming from a herbal or a tribal, area where, the implication of whatever you are investing goes directly to the set society. That doesn't happen with all the thematic areas. Now, most of the money goes in for sectors that are oriented with drugs, diagnostics, or even healthcare for that matter. And translating that into a product, you can only imagine it takes about 10 plus years. So that is not an obstacle, but that is something that our startups are constantly working on for. Thank you so much for that question. Subramani Shivakumar has asked, can you brief about non-biology ideas that are coming into some domain? So basically, see, the entire name of, say, biotechnology ignition grant actually features in a different light altogether. People say that, look, I did not study biotechnology. How can I apply for the grant? But let me tell you that even if you are not for a biotechnology background, and if you have an intervention that actually can enhance or add value to the life science segment as such, I request you to kindly apply. Even if you do not have a degree from biology background, you can apply as long as your idea can actually have an implication or an application into the healthcare or the non-healthcare or the biology-based domain. I hope I've answered that question. Developing cell therapy, Rohini Roy, what would be the thematic or the sub-thematic area? So developing cell therapy, you might come under drugs, and under drugs, you will have to ensure whether it's a vaccine, whether it's a biosimilar, or whether it's drug development. So adjudge what would be the best sub-thematic area. It will pop up when you are applying onto the BIRAC portal, and then you can see the best and apply. Don't pressure yourself, maybe I applied wrong or something. During the process of the eligibility and the preliminary screening, we will make sure that you have applied for the right area. If we feel that, your idea can be catered better to any other thematic or sub-thematic area, we will request you and we will, we will identify that for you. We go with your decision at the end of the day. So Mr. Baba is like, I have an idea in primary agriculture, very skeptical about whether it will be accepted. This is basic farming, cultivation, uncultivated lands. Anyway, it's a business plan. You can definitely go ahead and apply. If not anything else, through the entire BIG grant, your proposal will be looked at by at least 13 or 15 thematic area experts who are Indian experts who completely understand the domain of farming and primary agriculture. So kindly go ahead and apply. In addition to this, we will also look at if you can have a parallel email with us, basically detailing what the whole idea is. We may try to connect you with some people we have here at Ccamp who completely are into basic farming and uncultivated lands. Shawik is like, how can he join as a team member? May I propose his name then? How? So if you have a team member whose name is already confirmed, you can have his name and you can upload the resumes of them onto the portal. That is not an issue. Okay. Okay, so I am Rishabh Singhi and I'm from BSc Honors, 4th year. I have an idea in manufacturing in Denmark. Am I eligible to participate in the BIG grant? Please ensure that you have completed your graduation at the time of application. Or at least will you have a certificate 6 months down the line, when the awarded, when you will be awarded. If that being said, then you can apply. At least at the time of application, if you foresee that you will be completing your graduation in, say, December or so, you can apply. Okay, that's a long question from Yogesh Taparia. What is the difference between an individual versus company applicant? An individual applicant is one who does not have a startup at the time of application. Even if that individual, like for example, if the individual is working for any other XYZ company and would like to avail the opportunity of the BIG grant for his or her own innovative idea, they can apply as an individual, provided they provide an undertaking that they will be resigning at the time of getting awarded. Does Ccamp have facilities for greenhouses? Yes, we have a model where we work in close association with the University of Agricultural Bangalore for this. Can we use model systems to demonstrate and develop a proof of concept? Of course you can, and you can also include that part of the R&D as part of your BIG grant. Do we have to have a company right at the time of applying for BIG? No, it is not mandatory. We have had people who have applied for the BIG grant as an individual and stayed an individual till the end of 18 months. Although the idea of the BIG grant is to garner entrepreneurship. We would like you to have a startup, but then we don't make it mandatory from our end. Genome editing for crops would fall under agriculture. Yes, they do. How much detail does the grant need to go into experimental depth? We would like to know what would be the research methodology that you would be involving. At least let us know what it is all about. Right? Even if you don't want to, we don't want you to tell us how many microliters of EDTA you will use or something like that, but at least give us the overview of what experimental analysis you will be undertaking and what would be the consequence or what would be the deliverables of that particular objective. That's it. Rishabh Singh is that, yeah, I think I've already answered that. I am employed at one of the BIG partners. If I submit my proposal from you, do the other partners be made aware as my institute might fire me for applying? Oh boy. Okay. You need to have a very strong reason why you don't want to go with them and come with us. But then, at the end of the day, we leave it to you as to who you want to be identified as a big partner. again, at the end of the day, being an employee at any institute for that matter, you will have to step down for your position if you are awarded. So firing or non-firing, you might lose your job at the end of the day, but then let's hope it's for the best circumstances, and then you get the BIG grant at the end of it. So it'll be a critical decision for you to make, but then Ccamp always has open arms. If you want to join with us, you can. That is not an issue from our end. Right. So Suganya, for farm machinery, what kind of POC do we need to submit, like validating certificates or software testing like CATIA? So for farm machinery, we would actually like you to submit some sort of an illustration as to what that machinery is. Do not submit the final proof or something like that. At least give us iterations like industrial designs or something like that you can give us. And also, for example, if it is a IoT or an AI/ML based intervention, if you have some increase in efficiency that is taken up, it can be either as part of the preliminary data or as a milestone under the BIG. Okay, so that's done. Suganya, again, can you explain preliminary work again? So basically, preliminary work comes up. So basically something that actually adds value to your idea, but it does not actually mention that you have completely, you've completely finalized on anything that goes in for commercialization, right? If you have any R&D work that is to be established so that you can look at, say, validations or clinical trials or farm trials, you can apply for the BIG. And whatever little work that you have done as part of scientifically validating your particular proposed solution, that comes a part of the preliminary data. If you have publications in the same domain, then please ensure that if the paper is yours, kindly put them as part of the preliminary data and not as part of cited references. Tejesh is like, he has formed a company in October 2020. I have an idea. I made a prototype, but I'm not hiring anyone right now. Can I apply for BIRAC? Yes, you can apply. Please ensure that you just identify who may be your probable team members in the future. 1 or 2, you can just identify along with their qualifications, basically. Can we apply under pure concept of clean energy with artificial intelligence? Yes, you will have to apply under the IBT thematic area, under which clean energy is a sub-thematic area. Anju Nagpal, can one foresee future competitors until the product enters the market? Yes, you can. I mean, if you are doing something in BP monitoring, we already know who your competitors will be. So you can actually foresee some of them in the future. Probably doing an in-detail search as to, startup companies may not be feasible from your end, but at least identify some larger players in the market. How long does the complete process take from online application to awarding of the grant? From the close of the call to getting awarded, to getting to know whether you're awarded or not, it takes about 6 months' time. Is it required to have an outside consultant for my startup during pitch my product? So let's first go through the online review round and then think about the pitch round. At the time of getting your pitch done, we would request you to have some clinician as part of the pitch in case it is, something related to healthcare devices, diagnostics. Do you promote service with device proposals? And if you mean, do we handhold you with the draft of your device proposals? Then yes, Shushma, we do. You can send us a draft of your device proposals to us. Parani is like, the process should be different, or if the product has value, the market and not done in India, it can be considered for funding. Yes, it can be, but then please make sure that is the critical differentiator is not just make in India. The critical differentiator should also have, what pertinence it has in the Indian domain. And also if some sort of clarity can be done, like for example, if your proposed solution is at par or better than the imported solutions in the market, then you can highlight them as well. Manas, can we take a value-added food product for which patent has been filed or published by a group? Yes, if there is some amount of R&D left to be done, to be established, then you can apply for the BIG grant. Yogesh Taparia is like, does Ccamp help with the import of microbial strains? No, we don't. So basically, we are a facilitator, but then we cannot help you with the import of microbial strains, basically because if we help you do it, then the microbial strain becomes ours. It doesn't become yours. So you can't use our name for that. Thank you. Can we apply for alcohol product if it is a new flavor or food for health? Yes, you can. We have had a big awardee from our end who has discovered alcohol from peers, if I'm not wrong. So you can very much go ahead. Thank you for your comment. Srinath, how do we prepare and send the draft away? Is it the MS Word format? Yes, I mean, it can be the MS Word format, or if you feel, you can also convert it into a PDF and send it to us. But at least make sure that all the aspects of the draft of your proposal is actually included in that. Can a doctor and a startup apply together? Vivagen, no. The startup, either the applicant can be a startup or the doctor. And if the doctor is applying, then the doctor will have to, step down from his current position at the time of getting awarded. Or the fact that he can be a scientific advisor for the startup. So it is always better to go up with that. And another thing is that there is no co-PI kind of a module here at BIG. So basically, you will have to adjudge one project coordinator along with the team. Sridhara, would Ccamp help us onboard a domain expert advisor? Yes, so we do. Okay, so basically, we do have a domain of experts with us, but then at the time of application, it would be looking like actually we are partial to some of the applications and not to the others. So once you are awarded, you can get someone from us to help you. Vivagen, just one clarification from my end. If the doctor applies, the doctor need not step down from his correct position. Thank you. Right. So I'll be completing my degree in July 2023. I am now the managing director of a startup. Will I be eligible to apply? You can apply in the name of the startup. Sriram Setupati, you can actually apply in the name of the startup. Okay. I have a product which is already in the market. Is it possible to apply for the same product? If it is already available in the market, then I do not understand what sort of an R&D component which the BIG team should actually give you money for. So things that are already in the market probably need seed funding and not grants. So BIG may not be the right fit for you. Tanika, is it mandatory to register in your TBI? Is it okay, so coming to this question, actually, when you are uploading your proposal, if you are an individual who are uploading, you will have to upload your passport and you will have to upload an LOI or an MOU or a rental agreement from a TBI. In case you are in talks with the TBI or you have not identified a TBI that you want to be associated with the BIG for, or there is a delay in the paperwork or something like that, then you can actually request us for an LOI from Ccamp. So basically, as part of the LOI, you will have to mention the name of the project coordinator, the name of the startup in case you are already a startup, like if in case you already have a company. If not, leave the name of the startup out of it, and the finalized title of the proposal that you are submitting, right? And we will get back to you with an LOI that states that you may look at Ccamp with a possible reference of incubation in the future. It does not come with any claims. It does not come with any bearing that, you will have to mandatorily incubate with us or something like that. And this is issued within 48 hours. So please make sure to avail this opportunity in case you find any delays from your interest of TBI. And after you are awarded, irrespective of the LOI, if you want to change your TBI location or something like that, you can actually do that if you are outside the boundary of Bangalore. So in case we need some regulatory approval at the time of submission of the BIG grant, the approval is still pending, can we still apply? I really don't understand the question, Rohini. Would you be able to actually unmute yourself? And I need some clarity on this matter, honestly. So in case you can unmute yourself, Rohini.
Hi.
Hi. So if you need some regulatory approval, that means you are post the proof of concept stage, right?
No, I'm sorry. Then maybe I have mistaken in framing the question. My question is like, I'm going to work on kind of human blood related products. So working all these things, I need some kind of approval, like the hospital I'm working with, some kind of things. So these approvals are yet, like they're pending, that we are yet to get them. So and I don't think
that is fine. Even if it is pending, you can just recognize the fact that these would be required and you are in talks with some hospitals for that. So if that is the case, you can apply for the BIG. Probably at the time of TEP, you may need some extra documentation to, to actually project that. That is the only. But at the time of application, you can say that, you can go ahead with the application, not an issue.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ma'am, I will be completing my course by December 2022 and I have 6 months of internship. So basically, no, it is better if you can apply for the BIG grant at the time when you're awarding and, when you have completed your internship. So basically, at the start of your internship, you can apply for the BIG grant. So probably we will look forward to your application in the Jan call, that is 2023. Okay. Suhail is like, I'm a veterinary officer with a doctorate in biotechnology. Can I apply for the BIG grant? The concept is a vectored vaccine using CRISPR-based approach that we will cover 2 diseases in 1 vaccine. You can definitely apply. Just make sure that you are not describing anything proprietary in nature in your application, and then you can go ahead and apply. That is not an issue. And also give us statistics or something that will help us understand why it is a vital disease to be targeted in sheep. Some sort of metrics to say that how much the sheep population gets affected by both the diseases that you are targeting, right? So I've already answered that question. Syed is, if I submit my proposal as an extension of PhD research program, am I supposed to leave any job if I am awarded the grant? Yes. So basically, we will need an NOC from your institute stating that you have no issues. I mean, they have no issues with you applying for the BIG, and the BIG is not an extension of your PhD. It is completely different. It is not a non-academic grant. It is something where you're going ahead with entrepreneurship. So probably your PhD may be paused if you are awarded. So I would request you to apply for the BIG grant after you have completed or your, during your thesis submission, or, at that time where you have completed the R&D of the PhD. So after that, you can apply. What is the advantage of applying through Ccamp compared to other partners? So basically, we don't force things down your throat. That's one way of putting it. So basically, we leave all the decisions to the awardee. So basically, if you are applying as a individual, you want to stay as an individual, you can. You want to have a startup, you can. You want to convert from an individual to a startup through the application, you can. We have a banking of about 10 plus years of experience all through the BIG grant, all through the calls of BIG, which actually has a huge, immense advantage. And if you really want to know what the advantage is, drop into Ccamp. And I mean, I don't think anything beats that. Thank you. So Sunilal, yeah, we've taken down your email ID. We will be, sending you the documents right away. Right. So, could you elaborate on what industrial trials mean for farm machinery? So, Suguna, basically, like for example, if you have a mechanical equipment, you will have to know the efficiency of how it runs in different soil conditions or different things. So what I meant was actually industrial design of your farm machinery and not industrial trials. What you will be doing is farm trials, but with an illustration of the industrial design of your farm machinery. Even if it is iterations that you have not finalized on yet, you can include that as your preliminary data. Initial stage, you have received a grant and aid from the state government, and are we eligible for the BIRAC fund? Yes, you are, as long as the objectives do not overlap with the state government grant that you have received. Right. Tejesh, right. So do you have the proposal sample format? We do have the proposal sample format. If you could just give us your email ID, I think we'll get back to you. Rishabh, I've already answered your question. Is there any rule for submitting the proposal components like number of pages, etc.? So basically, if you look at the template that we have sent you, the core proposal runs to about 2 to 3 pages alone. We would like you to restrict the proposal components to about 300 to 350 words. Kirit is like, my startup is from NASCOM and they don't support BIG grant. No, you need not leave NASCOM. We also have, we have a very good rapport with NASCOM here at Ccamp. So basically you can co-incubate with Ccamp as well. But the TBI at the time of application for the BIG grant would be Ccamp and not NASCOM. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. How do I get LOI from? So in the chat box, I have actually put the details that are actually required if you require an LOI. If you are a repeat applicant from Ccamp and you have already availed an LOI from us, you can upload the same LOI. Right. So Yogesh, these slides are actually available in the YouTube link, so you can actually look at them in great detail. Shushma, you can actually revert back to ccamp_big at ccamp.res.in. It is again in the chat box. You can just revert back to us on that. Okay. Going back to the questions, I think a couple of people have actually raised their hands. So Ruthvik, if you can kindly go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Really appreciate your conversation. I have 2 specific questions.
Yeah.
For a successful application, is there an element of politics involved like many government work and proposals, or is it purely merit-based, the entire big grant?
Okay, I thought there were 2 queries.
Yeah, I have another one. Okay, I'll say that as well. Is it possible to access a very old winning grant application?
Right. So, Ruthvik, the thing is, BIRAC actually runs very clearly on the mandate of merit. And that is why Ccamp has been associated with the BIG aspect of BIRAC for about 10 years now, right? So it's completely on the basis of merit. But then, yes, there are some disheartened elements at the end where probably the budget from BIRAC may not curate for all the awardees that may be pushed by the panelists. So at that time, there might be a slight, element where you do not meet the cutoff at that end, right? But other than that, there is no government politics involved. There is no infringement, basically, on, the chief minister or the prime minister or that matters.
Yeah.
It basically comes up from the element of whether there is merit in your technology and whether it has a societal impact. Right?
Answers. Okay.
That is one.
Okay.
Second thing is, because we have signed an NDA with BIRAC and with Ccamp, we are at no liberty to actually release any previous application forms. But what we can do and what we are doing right now is that we share the template that can be done. So what we request you and everyone else to do is that to curate the template to the best of your knowledge as per the proposed technology that you are targeting. We will get back to you with curated comments. We have experts at our end who are
I know that.
working on specific thematic areas, etc. So we can just look at it and we will get back to you with comments. Again, the decision is on you whether you want to include them as part of your proposal or not when you are uploading it for the final time.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks. Thanks, Ritik. Srilata, kindly unmute yourself.
Hi, Doctor. Thank you for a very clear presentation. First thing I wanted to ask, I think you answered already. You said doctors should leave the job or
no, they need not. I'm sorry. I went back on that. So basically, you need not step down from your position.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Second question, this is my third application. My last application got rejected, saying some of the, I applied for a medical device. I got rejected saying some of the parts may need to be imported and the current geopolitical tensions do not allow for it. So so I found out another access where the import of these particular parts for manufacture of my medical device can be done through the South America, North America route. I wanted to ask, one thing I want to ask was that does Ccamp help in importing any components if required? Second thing is my engineering team is willing to manufacture the devices in India, of course at a cost. So can I put these as alternative options for what they objected to when I asked for?
I didn't quite get your last element. First one was whether Ccamp would help you in importing, and second was?
Yeah. The second one was, so if you answer me, I'll get to the second one.
Acha, okay. So basically, you can, see, the thing is, Ccamp is a facilitator at the end of it, and we cannot own anything that we are facilitating, right? So if it is something like you are working on your device and you're importing certain elements, what happens is if you use the name of Ccamp, Ccamp will own that material and not you or your company. So exports or anything of that end, we will not be able to navigate through the process of, giving our address or something like that for imports inside. But then if you are getting awarded and we have you on paper with us here at Ccamp, we can probably connect you with the right sources that can help you navigate through the exports better. That we can do. But then probably utilizing the address of Ccamp to any merit in your exports would not add anything, because at the end of the day, you will be losing out on the medical device.
No, I would not want to use Ccamp's address. You answered my question. I just wanted if you could facilitate in the sense.
I mean, if we have you on paper, we can definitely get some connects on that regard.
Yes. The other element of the question was, so basically my engineering team is willing to get this done, get these particular devices manufactured in India itself. You get it right? Or the other option is to import them from South America.
No, see, the thing is, if you have something that can be done in-house, it is always better, because at the end of the day, when you're going in for large scale production, importing on large scale will only add on to your cost metrics, right? So if you can do something in-house, we are ready to support you on that end as well. Not an issue. We do have a medtech prototyping facility and all of that. We have a clean room, which is ISO 10,000 certified and all of that. So you can utilize any of this once you are onboarded on paper. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know if you would know from your experience of previous applications that this indigenous making is possible in India. I don't know why they rejected, saying that these current China, the current geopolitical tension is in the Europe. It's not most of us know that most medical device components are imported from China, Vietnam, Singapore, etc.
Correct.
So I fail to understand how that could become a major obstruction to the
No, see, the thing is, I'll tell you why. Probably the reasoning, I don't know what exactly your technology is or how you are going to get the import element inside. But one of the key features that we look at imports is the fact that there are certain elements that are not produced in India at all. When it comes to, say, for example, sensors or something like that, if it is a very specific sensor that you're looking at, some of them can be, curated in India, but then some of the needs of the sensors cannot be curated in India. We have to fall back on export elements for that. That being said, if some of the elements can be built in India, in spite of the export, that actually brings down the cost matrix to a huge percentage, actually. Right. So probably that might be the reasoning behind that particular comment. But then since you have already navigated through another market that, is comparatively cheaper, bearing in mind the same efficacy standards, I'm sure. So we'll go forward with that idea.
Okay, there is another question. If you
but then, Srilata, one more thing that I would like you to look at is the state of Tamil Nadu and the state of Madhya Pradesh. If I'm not wrong, they're coming up with facilities that are actually having some of these, Chinese, Vietnamese counterparts actually targeted, probably you can look at that as well. I mean, I don't know if it fits rightly into your asks, but then you can actually look at those options also through the BIG grant, not at the time of application, but at least through the BIG grant.
Sure, thank you. Can I ask another question?
Yes, sure. Please go ahead. Yes.
So the earlier two applications were through IKT Hyderabad.
Okay.
So would any of the institute mind if I apply through you?
No.
Any Ccamp or IKT?
No.
I can apply. I'm free to apply, right?
Yeah, as long as, I mean, only after getting awarded, we'll have issues if you want to shift from us. But then at the time of application, you are free to choose whom you want as your implementing partner.
So if I get awarded, would I have to be meeting you in person?
For some of the mentorship meetings, yes, but most of it is done over email.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very important.
Thanks. Right. Right. So I think I've done this. Shivana is like, I have received a 5 lakh for prototype. It's in the POC stage. Can I apply for BIG? Yes, you can. You can definitely apply for BIG as long as you have some amount of R&D element left in your work, and also the fact that the objectives of the 5 lakh grant are not, the same as the BIG. I'm now working on nanomaterials fabrication and toxicology effects of fish for betterment of fish and management. If it has a direct impact where the fish health and the management can be targeted, you are in a very critically required domain. So kindly apply and we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I think there's a question from Anban Satguru. Kindly unmute yourself.
Thanks for your nice presentation, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I just have one question. Because since it is a big grant, I mean, when this big grant initiated, I was a part of a team, and we applied for big grant, and we actually got the grant.
Okay.
So actually, what happened is, I mean, as you say, the milestones are set for 18 months, right? I mean, a maximum of 18 months or something like that. So I just want to know, I mean, the scenario is still same or it is different? Because what happened is, according to our milestones, we didn't get the funds released from the government point of, I mean, from the government side, from the BIRAC side to be precise. So is this the same scenario that is happening still now, or it has changed? So that is one question I wanted to know. I want to ask you.
Anban, actually, see, there are two aspects to this. You will not be able to apply again if you're already an awardee of the BIG grant.
No, I am not an awardee. The company was the awardee actually.
Fair enough, whatever it is, and you're not still associated with that company?
No.
Okay.
So I mean, I was just I was recruited by the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
fair enough. Then you can go ahead and apply as long as it's not in the name of the company. But then I do not foresee any glitch in the payment. Probably there is a delay in the payment.
yeah,
There's
that's
no
what I'm.
glitch or stoppage of the payment when it comes to the BIG awardees, at least at Ccamp. So at Ccamp, what we do is we make sure that the payments happen on time. Until and unless there is a grave, stoppage from BIRAC. And as far as I know, in the last 10 years, that has happened once or twice that I know of. But then, sorry?
So it is like if we are proposing it for 18 months, I mean, the person has to complete
if there is something that is credible on BIRAC, then we will do what is on our end at Ccamp to actually facilitate you, even if it goes beyond 18 months.
Okay.
And even, I mean, that being said, most of the projects that come for 18 months under us, we cannot make sure that they complete it in 18 months because it's a biotech R&D at the end of the day. Okay. But if it is something that can be completed in 4 months, we are okay with it. If you complete something in 8 months, we are okay with it. But then we make sure that you have that timeline of 18 months quite set with you, mainly because if there is a delay on your end with the 18-month timeline, the proposed solution will lose out on its market advantage. That is the main reason. Otherwise, if there is a delay from BIRAC for, release of funds and all of that, then there is something that we do here at Ccamp to actually negate the situation maximum possible.
Okay. That's what is.
Thank you. Pramod is like, hello, madam, my falls under clean energy and medtech. What should be the selection and I should opt for? Pramod, we will require a very clear differentiation as to what the proposed technology is, because the thing is that, if you are targeting clean energy and medtech, there is a very, a very thin line that connects both of these thematic areas. So we request you to kindly send us a draft of your application so that we will look at it in a curated manner, along with your doubt, under which thematic area you should probably apply. Narayan, Dr. Narayan says, I am working as a assistant professor having one idea related to health science. Can I individually submit? I'm in not contact with whether I disclose the idea directly to the BIRAC team and initially go for patenting of that idea and then submit to the BIRAC team. Right. So the thing is, you can send us a draft and you can apply as an individual innovator, provided you have an NOC from your institute. That being said, patenting of that idea is not exactly mandatory when you're applying for the BIG. But then if you feel that, it adds credibility to your application, kindly go ahead. Or otherwise, you can actually indicate what are the aspects that you may be patenting in the future at the time of application. Thank you. Sridhara is like, do we include certification costs, for example, CE certification in, if not pre-certification testing costs? So certifications are not included under the BIG grant. Probably you can invest time of the BIG grant, probably the last 2 months of the BIG grant to actually get CE certifications, but then the cost under the BIG grant would not cover the certification expenses as such. How does Ccamp benefit from BIG? Well, that is a discussion for a later date, I guess. Well, the basic thing is that, look, Ccamp and BIG actually grew together. So I think we are hand in hand with the entire ecosystem of the BIG and the BIRAC in some measure. As far as the benefits of Ccamp is concerned, we actually, bank on the benefits that we get out of the ecosystem rather than just one grant element that we have here at BIG. So whatever benefits Ccam sees, it is from the ecosystem, it is from you, and it is from everybody who is like you, who is making an impact in the entire world, in India or else globally. Thank you. Shivanna, can I apply to BIG for processing machinery in food and pharma processing industry? Of course, you can apply. You can please go ahead and submit your application. You can also send us a draft for the same. Shushma, I'm not sure of the question that you are actually asking. Can you kindly unmute yourself? Why is there a confusion at your end as to under which category you have to apply?
Yeah, thanks Nitya for taking up this. Actually, I'm basically a nutrition counselor, so we have we want to give certain service oriented solutions based on the diet and the food, of course, for which the diagnosis through the easy access to the rural area device, that is what we are thinking. So with that, how do we connect into our proposal? This is what is my question. And under which category can we put? Because we are not completely the health device, nor I do not know under the life sciences, where do we put it across under your categories, ma'am?
Okay. So this definitely doesn't come under industrial biotechnology because you're not scaling up the production of something.
Exactly.
So you will have to go in for the device segment where you will be targeting human intervention. Again, if you have an AI ML or a big data or an IoT module, please indicate that as well into your
Yeah, and if we have some technology partners who are already well developed technology people who are into manufacturing with diagnostic, with whom we can have a tie-up and then send the proposal, is it possible?
You can have them as your scientific advisors or your business advisors, but there is no element of collaboration at this stage in the BIG grant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So Krishna Kumar in the Q&A box is like, can I apply for 2 independent project proposals? You can, but then only one of them will be awarded. So you will have to ensure, have that at the back of your mind at the time of application. Vivagenix is like, we have worked with a gynecologist using her patient sample, utilizes our IP. The project was quite successful. Now we have like to extend R&D and launch a product, but we are sure that we both share the grant, but we are okay with either one of us. The primary, how is the best that we do to, so okay, I need some clarification from Viva Jen. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Yeah, hi. I'm good.
Hi.
So the thing is, see, if you are going to apply as an individual, then you will have to step down from Viva.
No, the question is the physician or the doctor applies as an individual and we be the scientific mentor. We're okay with that. Or even the other way around, that we apply as a startup and she's our, not scientific, a professional mentor. We also have the backing of a business mentor. But the thing is, the product that comes out, right? So we are sure that we both share the IP.
See, as long as the primary applicant, whoever it is, either the doctor or Viva Jen, for that matter, whoever that is, that person should be owner of the IP that comes out of BIG, right? Now, who you have in addition to that, we leave it to you.
Okay.
So even if the said scientific advisor applies or Viva Jen applies in the name of the company, the IP should be owned by the primary, the project coordinator for sure.
Got it.
In addition to that, we leave it to you. I mean, at Ccamp, we don't force matters. So we leave it to the best of your decision making as to who can be the etc. Names on board.
But at this stage, it's simply not possible that both of us share the IP.
So the IP is not coming out of the BIG, is it?
No.
Okay. So you are going to apply for the IP and then apply for the BIG?
No. So the IP, in the sense, we have certain R&D capabilities that we are in the process of getting a process patent. So we have utilized that for her samples, and this actually it gives a multiplexing capability. So without revealing too much of the project, so we have given her a multiplexing capability for her diagnostics, so that the cost is substantially reduced. It is just 1/20th of the present cost. So that was because of our multiplexing capability, for which we will be applying, or we have applied a process. But now we want to bring it together within the space of gynecology, within the space of endometriosis. So this has given a very good AUC of even 90%, which we have published. So we want to bring it as a product, as a kit. For that, extend our R&D. So that is where we need the big brand, right? Because we have to increase the cohort, increase the samples, and also get different, right? But the multiplexing capability is ours. But the idea came from both of us, and she primarily gave us a well-stratified data set, patient samples. That is why within a year, we could actually do the work and get it published also. So at this stage, when we're applying as a big brand, as I said, we do not mind if either one of us is the primary applicant. But once we get the grant, so how does it happen? I mean, she will not be doing the R&D. The majority R&D is being done here. So how does she, route the funds? So how do we apply for the funding component? That is the major question. The IP, of course, after we develop the kit, we will be sharing that. I got to clarify. But when she gets the fund, when she's not doing the R&D work, how does she
So, see,
fund it?
usually the project coordinator is the one who foresees a major R&D, that is the major element of the R&D, if not the whole element of the R&D, right? So basically, even if the project coordinator is, like, for example, outsourcing that particular segment of the R&D to any said company, for that matter, it is not looked at that positively.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. So it would be better if the primary, the applicant is actually the person who is undertaking the major element of the R&D, and the other person, whoever it is that you feel is right, can be either the scientific advisor or the business advisor.
Yeah, I got
And
it.
then
But then the
probably
question,
you can indicate that, because if you are judging to apply in the name of the startup, you can say that some amount of the R&D will be facilitated by the scientific advisor, which is the said doctor.
Yeah, right now that introduces an element of politics, right? Because we want to share the amount equally. Would that be possible? Because she has
There will be only one project coordinator. Okay. And that project coordinator, the bank details, whatever it is, the Nolin account of that particular project coordinator is where the amount comes in. How your expenses are out according to the ratio of the BIG grant is left to you.
Yeah, because a major component she has to provide the samples. It is very difficult work.
So we don't impinge on that. We don't impinge on the expenses and all of that. We just ensure that you get the money when you are completing your milestones.
Because she needs to take a research assistance, so that needs to be funded, right? So
fine, you can give the manpower to that said individual.
Okay, got it. This clarifies a lot. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Thanks. Thank you. Bye. Bye. So Anban asks, why is most of the startups in biotechnology high in Bengaluru according to the data that is shown in the presentation? Anban, I would like to indicate that these are startups that are associated with Ccamp, and this is not a pan-India approach. So because Ccamp is associated in Bangalore, earlier there was some sort of parity that comes with geographic boundaries, and that is why the impact is higher. Other than that, if you look at, and that is a data curated with about 300 plus startups who have incubated as well, funded, incubated, and mentored with us. And the ones who have been handheld, in other strengths, they are about 1,000 plus more. So basically the data of 700 plus startups is not included in that slide. Thank you. Chandan, how long the technology concept note is expected to be? It is not expected to be long. It is actually expected to be crisp. It is expected to be easy to read, if not anything else. So the depth of the information, we leave it to you. We just want you to help us understand it in an illustrative form better. Baba, I think I have already answered this question. Whether 2 proposals can be submitted simultaneously, yes, but please bear in mind that only one of them will be awarded. Jitendra asks, I am in my final year of PhD with an idea to produce sensitive antibodies that can be utilized for various diagnostic purposes. So first of all, when you're applying for the BIG grant, please ensure that you are, targeting one diagnostic purpose, because you will not be able to establish R&D or the POC for many diagnostic purposes. Until unless the intervention is expected of that. But because you are doing an antibody-based intervention, there's a lot of R&D that goes into each diagnostic purpose that you are targeting. As long as you receive an NOC from your institute to apply, you can apply. There are no issues. Kisan Connect, this is Abdul. We are into providing innovative agri-tech on different modules. We have a different business plan. Patented product will solve real-time problems. Do we fit into the big as an agri-tech startup? Reduce the workload, improve yield, and reduce financial compliances. Okay. So Kisan Tech, can you please unmute yourself? I would require some sort of an explanation on this matter.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Abdul.
Hi, ma'am. Yes.
So the thing is, when you say that your proposed solution is into agri-tech and it is, completely targeting, reducing the load on the farmers, etc. I would like to know if it is already in the market.
No, actually, we are into the phase of we have made a prototype. Now we are into phase of improving the prototype into as a MVP, and then we have to launch the product. So initially,
if you are ready to launch the product, then you are beyond POC.
In the sense, but there are stages there where, like, we have to do the improvement in the product. We have to perform the testing of the product, and that has to be done under the state government policy. So that stages we have not completed yet.
So is there a crucial R&D element that would inhibit any of these?
Yeah, actually, we have met a person from ICAR. And what he has suggested a few changes in our design and the model that we have developed. And according to that, we have to take changes into the model. And after that, only we have to apply it for the testing process. And then after that, it will be ready for launching.
Okay. So if you are going in for a ready to launch approach post the BIG, then I'll have to just make clear that any certifications or any cost that cover certifications will not be covered under the BIG grant. So if you have any element other than the certification cost that can be availed from the BIG grant, you can apply.
In sort of product development and all that we can do?
Yes, you can. If there is an R&D element involved, you can.
Okay, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there is somebody anonymous who's asking, what if we stop our R&D in the middle? Should we return the money back? Basically, we do have a foreclosure and a termination clause as part of the BIG agreement that you will be signing. So it depends as to what sort of an R&D you are and how much the BIRAC has actually invested in you. So depending on that, we will be taking a decision. Right. So I'll just wait for a couple of minutes. I do not see anybody raising your hand or any open questions in the chat box. Okay. Tejesh, can you please unmute yourself?
Ma'am, already I made a proto and we tested that proto for medical device, for the medical device. And we required more than 50 lakh funding. So what is the process? Which is the better way to go and take a funding?
So under BIG, you can request only for 50 lakhs.
Okay.
So you can request for the maximum amount under BIG. And for the follow-on expenditure, you can look at different elements that are existent under Government of India or incubator-related programs, where you can avail the remaining 50 lakhs.
Okay, and if I am applying for a credit guarantee scheme, and then can I apply again to the BIG program? So both the things are coupled, or
No, it is not coupled. You can definitely go ahead and apply for the BIG grant, but then please make sure that these credit liability scheme, if they are coming with said objectives or milestones, they do not run in parallel or run in similarity with what you have mentioned in the BIG grant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. This is Abdul again.
Yeah.
So as you said, the funds will be mainly focused on to the R&D element of our product and all. So will the funds that are given, if in case, then can it be used for the what we call the manpower and the equipment purchase, and then having a setup it on, say, on rent, and then the production of that or development of that product, and then finally testing the product and then launching it. So in this process, can the fund be utilized?
Okay, so the thing is, whatever heads that I have mentioned under the BIG grant, equipment, manpower, consumables, and all of that. Let me just go back to that slide for a minute. Yeah, so these are the heads under which you can budget your requirements. Okay, but then after all of this, if you are going for a launch, that would require you to actually look at certifications, validations, and also for that matter, even marketing and all of that. So all those aspects are not covered under the BIG grant.
Okay, so till the stage of final product development, we can do it under BIG.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So Rajesh Gokhale has come back with a question. What is the proof of concept? So basically, say you have an idea with no scientific backing or scientific proof for that matter, it still remains an idea. So as long as you have an idea with some sort of a scientific merit to that particular situation, you have arrived at proof of principle. Okay. And once you have established enough scientific evidence to actually either scale up your proposed solution or to go in for validations or for clinical trials, then you are set to come up with a proof of concept. So I hope I'm clear. So it's basically idea, proof of principle, and proof of concept. Now, when you're coming from an academic background, proof of principle and proof of concept are actually used in tandem, but not in the entrepreneurship world. I hope I answered your question. So Jitendra, I am a PhD student in Taiwan. Can I still apply for the scheme considering I am planning to move to India if I get selected? So Jitendra, we have many BIG awardees who have come back to India once they are awarded. So basically you can apply for the scheme as long as you have an Indian passport. And once you are awarded, you are supposed to come back and settle in India. You will have to basically wrap up your life in Taiwan, close all doors there, and then come back to India. So if you're ready for that, you can take in the plunge. Thank you. Right. So Baba, so the slides are available. We do have a YouTube link that is actually presently available. So it's going on live right now on YouTube. So you can just look at those. Thanks. Any further questions? Yeah, Shweta Shri, kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon.
Yes. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I don't think I had any question.
Okay, you just raised your hand, so I thought you had.
Sorry. Maybe I just tried to check, is there any link available for the YouTube? I just...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So in case you are awarded the Startup India Seed Fund, you can still apply for the BIG grant, provided the milestones or whatever do not overlap with the BIG scheme. So as long as that is catered to, you can apply for the BIG grant, irrespective of how many ever grants you have availed till date. Thank you. Is it necessary to have a product with you while applying BIRAC? Okay, I'll have to unmute Narayan. You can just please unmute yourself, Dr. Narayan. Dr. Narayan? Dr. Narayan, I see a question on the chat box, on the Q&A
Hello,
box. Yeah.
Hello,
So I'm a little confused. What do you mean by to have a product with you?
Madam, actually, I'm having one idea. I want to prepare that idea, convert that idea into product. But while applying for the BIRAC or big scheme, is it necessary to have the product at that time, or we can further we can make that product later on also?
So basically, at the end of BIG, you will have to come out with either a prototype or the prototype of the product or anything like that. So at the time of application, if you have a product, then BIG is not for you.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome.
I'm Anban here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Just one more question. Can we parallelly apply two grants together? Suppose I am having a seed fund grant with me, and suppose if I am getting it through a big grant also, can I have both together? Is it possible? Does BIRAC allow?
Yes, yes. You can have parallel parallel grant schemes running with you or your company for that matter, as long as the objectives do not run, like the objective of the seed fund scheme and the objectives of the BIG scheme are not supposed to be similar. This is not a mandate from Ccamp or BIRAC. This is a mandate from Government of India, basically.
Okay.
So irrespective of whether you are applying for the BIG scheme or no, please ensure that the objectives of any two grants or the milestones of any two grants are not the same.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Harish, what are the end outcome or expectations from the BIG grant from the innovators or the startups? So basically, we would like to have some clarity from you, what would be the outcome from your end? So basically, is it a product? Is it a beta prototype? Is it a service-based module? It basically depends on your idea. So the expectations of your idea is what we cater to under the BIG grant. Thank you. Any further questions?
Hello, ma'am. Again, Abdul here.
Yes.
The thing is that along with the product development, since like when it is the time to give the product to the farmer, if we come out of with a product to the farmer, then we were planning that the product won't be directly sold it to him, and we wanted to have a business plan wherein we give the product via subscription model to him. So having this kind of business plan and then bringing the product into market. So for that kind of service thing said in the business, will BIG fit for us?
So basically, Abdul, what we look for when you're applying for the BIG is a clarity on your end why you're going for a subscription-based module and not for direct sales. If you have that clarity, you can definitely apply irrespective of what your business strategy is.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Any further questions? Yes, Dr. Narayan.
Hello, madam. Madam, I am working as assistant professor in a college. While submitting to the BIRAC or big scheme, it is necessary to go through the institution, the application, or I can individually submit the application?
So basically, because of the Startup India seed fund and everything the Startup India movement that is actually happening, it is not mandatory for any associate professor or assistant professor to run by their deans or anyone at the time of application. So the main thing is what we require from you is that we require you to get an NOC from your institute at the time of application. So as long as you get an NOC, we are okay with the application. It is not mandatory from our end that you have to run things through.
But madam, NOC is required because if you are individually performing or doing any work.
Yeah, but when you're coming from an academic cohort, we would request you to have an NOC in place.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions? Please elaborate on the fund releasing format or schedule. So basically what we do is at the time of agreement signing, once you're awarded, we do the due diligence from our end as far as the technical and the financial due diligences are concerned. Once approved, we will be signing the agreements with you as per the format mandated by BIRAC. And then we will be releasing the first tranche of funds, which is 30% of the amount. So if you're asking for 50 lakhs, 15 lakhs will be sent to your particular accounts on signing of the agreement, and then followed up by milestone completion. So as and when you complete your milestones, we will be releasing the remaining amount. So all of those details will be detailed as per the BIRAC norms in your agreement. Basically, BIG grant is a milestone-based release grant. So you don't get 50 lakhs on the go. You will be getting it as and when you complete your said milestones. Pramod is like, yeah, I think I have already answered your question, Pramod. So basically, kindly give us a draft of your application of your project proposal so that we will be able to figure out how it is slightly confusing to apply under clean energy and medtech. So if you can just provide me that, because it is actually the thing is that, you know, we would need clarity because medtech and clean energy are two different domains. You can email us the proposal, a draft of your proposal, and then we look at it. So the email ID is in the chat box, which is ccam_big@ccamp.res.in. You can just email that to us there. Thank you. Jitendra, for foreign Indian students, do we still need to provide NOC from foreign institutes? No, because you will be coming back to India and in any case, so there is no NOC to be provided. If you are a foreign Indian student, we actually request you to submit your passport, which is a valid passport. Can I get a reference pitch deck for BIG? We will be sharing the template with you for the online application. Pitch decks come on a later date. So we will have a separate handholding for the ones who are recommended by the online review committee on a later date. This session is exclusively for online proposal writing and upload. So let's stick to the template that we will be communicating to you. Thank you. If the fund requirements get escalated in the middle of the project, we have not seen a measure where the requirements get escalated as such in the middle of the project. As I always say, once you're getting awarded the BIG grant, celebrate on day one. From day two, just start looking at alternate funds as well. So that should make sure that you are doing it. So basically, the BIG grant is very set straight. We know when you're starting or getting awarded, when you're signing the agreements with us, what you are going to look ahead with. And as part of the due diligence here at Ccamp, if there is any fund requirements that we see that you have not catered for during the BIG grant, we will point that out to you and you can make the necessary changes from your end. Thank you. So any further questions? All right. So I am just reiterating the requirements for the LOI in the chat box. Kindly look at it. So basically an LOI is given to people who have issues with any delays in either getting a rental agreement, MOU, or an LOI for that matter from their incubator of interest. It does not come with any bearing that you will be associated with Ccamp for sure when you are awarded. It is just something to tide over the time sensitivity aspect at the time of application, because I do understand that it might be a slightly overwhelming to see the extensive nature of the BIG grant that is actually required. So if you guys need an LOI, kindly share with us the same by the details with us by August 14th, and we will be issuing an LOI immediately within 48 hours. As far as your drafts go and the requirement for an LOI goes, or whatever details you require, whether any handholding in that matter, kindly email ccamp_big at ccamp.res.in. The reason why I'm not giving you my own personal professional email ID is because I will be associated with many interactions and outreach sessions. So basically my response might be slightly delayed. So kindly take down the team's email ID so that you get a response as quick as possible. So these are the couple of things. And Baba, there's a question asking what if the cost is more than 50 lakhs? You will have to look at other funding opportunities that cater to the expenditure that is above 50 lakhs. Under BIG, you can request for only up to 50 lakhs. What are the timelines to finish the project? So basically, if you have an 18-month timeline that you are requesting for, the milestones would be 6 months or 4 months, basically, depending upon the timeline that you're looking for. So, we usually have it on a 6-month timeline, but then sometimes it so happens some milestones can be established in about 3 months. So that kind of a flexibility is always available at your end to establish. So basically, we leave it to you. What is a milestone? What are the activities? What are the outputs? And how much time you see yourself required? So you can go ahead with that. Thank you. Okay, so kindly get back to us in case you need an LOI or you need a reference to the draft of your proposal. We will be emailing all of you people the required documentation, like the template, the guidelines basically of the BIG. And the booklet from us actually covers some of the FAQs that we usually get. So you can look at that also intently. Kindly start preparing your applications and everything from your end, drafting of the proposal and all of that from your end immediately, so that you can look at it intently. We'll also have time on our hands basically if you require. So this is kindly these are some of the deadlines that we have here at Ccamp. I'm just putting that up again on the chat box so that it is pretty evident for everyone. So basically, for sending a draft of your application, it is 12th of August, so that we have enough time to cater to your expectations. For issuing of the LOI, it is August 14th. The preferable last date for the application upload is August 15th. And for the deadline as per BIRAC norms is August 16th. So, and make sure that you submit the proposal by 5:30 p.m. It is not the midnight of August 16th or something like that. It is 5:30 p.m. So please make sure you meet the deadlines as far as the time is concerned. All the very best to your applications, and thank you for interacting with Ccamp. Kindly choose Ccamp to be your implementing partner for the BIG scheme. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.